Have you ever had a dream that felt so real, so vivid, that when you woke up, you weren't quite sure what was reality anymore? A dream that stuck with you, not for days, but for weeks, months, even years. I want to share one of those dreams with you today. This happened a long, long time ago, but it's etched into my memory as if it were yesterday. It started in a place that felt familiar, yet completely alien. I was in a vast, ancient library. The shelves stretched up into an endless vaulted ceiling, so high I couldn't see the top. Sunlight streamed in through colossal arched windows, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air like tiny golden fairies. The air smelled of old paper, leather, and something else, something sweet, like rain on dry earth. I wasn't alone. There was an old man sitting at a heavy oak table in the center of the room. The table between us wasn't empty. It was covered in a sprawling, intricate map. But this wasn't a map of any country I knew. The continents were shaped differently. The oceans were named in a language I couldn't read, but somehow understood. There were cities made of crystal, forests that glowed with an inner light, and mountains that floated in the sky. The old man pointed a long, slender finger to a small island in the middle of a swirling turquoise sea. "This is where you need to go," he said. His voice was like the rustling of old pages, soft yet clear. What had I lost? I had no idea. I was standing on the deck of a wooden sailing ship, the salty spray hitting my face. The sky was a brilliant canvas of orange and purple as the sun set. The ship was cutting through the waves, heading directly for the Isle of Echoes, which I could see on the horizon. It looked exactly as it did on the map. The crew of the ship were strange. They were silent, moving with a grace that was almost ghostly. They had kind faces, but they never spoke a word to me. They just nodded and worked the ropes, their eyes fixed on our destination. I felt a sense of peace I'd rarely experienced, a feeling that I was exactly where I was supposed to be. When we arrived, the island was breathtaking. It was a lush green paradise. Waterfalls cascaded down cliffs into crystal-clear lagoons. Strange, beautiful flowers bloomed everywhere, their colors more vibrant than anything I'd ever seen, and The air was filled with music, not from any instrument, but from the island itself. It was a soft, harmonious hum that resonated deep within me. I stepped off the boat and onto a beach of fine white sand. As my feet touched the ground, the feeling of loss intensified, but it was mixed with a sense of anticipation. I knew I was close. I followed a path that wound its way through the glowing forest. The trees had silver bark, and their leaves were a kaleidoscope of colors. The light filtering through them created shifting patterns on the ground. The path led me to a clearing. In the center of the clearing was a single ancient tree, even larger than the ones in the forest. Its branches spread out like a canopy, and hanging from them were countless small, delicate glass bells. The wind chimed through them, creating a melody that was both sad and hopeful. I walked closer, my heart pounding in my chest. As I got closer, I realized the child was me. The child held up a small, smooth grey stone. "You dropped this," the child said, their voice echoing in my head. I looked down at my hand, and I was holding an identical stone. I hadn't even realized it was there. I looked back at the child, and they were fading, becoming translucent, like a memory. The younger me smiled, and the whole island seemed to smile with them. The light grew brighter, the music swelled, and I realized what I had lost. It wasn't a thing. It was that sense of wonder, that pure, simple joy of just being. It was the part of me that could find magic in a simple stone, that could laugh without reason, that could see the world not for what it was, but for what it could be. As the child faded completely, the glass bells chimed one last beautiful chord. And then I woke up. My room was dark. The only sound was the quiet hum of the city outside. But the ache in my chest was gone. In its place was a warmth, a sense of wholeness. The dream felt more real than my own bed. For days after, I couldn't shake the feeling. I started noticing things I'd overlooked for years. The way the light hit the leaves on a tree, the pattern of clouds in the sky, the sound of laughter from a stranger on the street. It was like the dream had retuned my senses to the magic of the everyday world. I don't know what that dream meant. Not really. Was it a message from my subconscious, a visit to another dimension, or just a random firing of neurons in my sleeping brain? Maybe it doesn't matter. What matters is the effect it had. It reminded me that a part of us, that joyful, wondering child, is never truly lost. It's just waiting on its own isle of echoes, waiting for us to remember the way back. But sometimes, when life gets heavy, when I feel lost in the noise and the stress, I close my eyes and think of that island. I think of the library, the old man, the silent crew, and the child under the chiming tree, and I remember to look for the magic. It's always there if you just know how to listen for the echoes. So, I'm curious, have you ever had a dream that changed you? One that stayed with you and made you see the world a little differently? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories. Thanks for listening to mine. If you enjoyed this, please consider liking and subscribing for more thoughts and stories. Until next time.